All right, ready to dive deep. Today, it's naturalism.
Ooh, naturalism. Sounds intense.
It can be, but trust me, this is going to be fun. We're going to really get into how to think like a naturalist, not just the definition.
Thinking like a naturalist, huh? So, like, questioning everything, demanding evidence.
Exactly. And to help us out, we've got this article, Philosophy of Naturalism, the connection between planet and spirituality.
Planet and de-spirituality. That's an interesting combo.
Right. And there's even a quiz in here. It actually shows how we use naturalism in our lives every day.
Ooh, a quiz. Fun. But first, let's go back to the beginning. Where'd this whole naturalism thing come from?
Okay, so picture ancient Greece. We've got the pre-Socratic philosophers. Total rebels, ditching myths and embracing logic.
Yeah, those guys were like, forget the gods, let's use our brains. Like Thales, he thought everything came from water.
Water, huh? Interesting theory. He might have been a little off, but the important thing is he was looking for a natural explanation.
Right. Instead of saying, oh, the gods did it, he was trying to figure out how things worked.
Like when your wifey goes out. Do you blame gremlins or do you check the router?
Huh. Definitely the router. But back to the Greeks. There was also an Anaximander. He came up with this idea of the empyrean, meaning boundless, this sort of abstract origin for everything.
So they were already thinking about the big picture, huh? Like, where did everything come from?
And that led to abstract thinking, a huge step toward how we do science today. Oh, and we can't forget Heraclitus. He's the one who said, you can't step in the same river twice.
I love that quote. Always changing, always in motion.
Exactly. It applies to us too, you know? You're not the same person you were yesterday. Always growing, always evolving.
Whoa, that just got deep.
Well, philosophy will do that to you. Speaking of deep thinkers, there's Aristotle. He took those abstract ideas and made them more hands-on.
Like he was a scientist before science was even a thing.
Exactly. Observation, classification, he was all about it.
Like that quiz we talked about. He categorizes our views on the environment, kind of like how Aristotle categorized species, right?
It all connects. Okay, now fast forward a few centuries. Renaissance, Enlightenment, bam. Rediscovery of those classical ideas. Science exploding everywhere.
Galileo, Newton, changing the world with telescopes and laws of physics.
Exactly, and all this new scientific knowledge just fueled naturalism even more. Suddenly, we had evidence-based explanations for things people used to think were supernatural.
If we can explain the tides, the planets, even the human body with science, then maybe we don't need supernatural explanations for everything.
Right, and then comes David Hume, the king of skepticism.
Hume, wasn't he the one who questioned, like, everything?
Oh yeah, even things like cause and effect, which seems so obvious to us. He was like, hold on, how do we really know that one thing causes another?
So it's all about patterns and observation. Like if you eat a whole bag of chips and get a stomachache every time, you start to connect those dots.
Exactly. That's how we learn, that's how we build knowledge, and that's the core of thinking like a naturalist. Speaking of changing how we think, we got to talk about Darwin.
Darwin, the big one. Natural selection blew everyone's minds. It explained life, all of life, without needing some divine plan.
And it showed us that humans were not separate from nature, we're a part of it. Like everything else, we evolved.
That's a big shift, right? From seeing ourselves as above nature to realizing we're just another piece of the puzzle.
It changes how we see the world and where we find meaning. But that's a conversation for another time.
This is just the beginning. There's so much more to unpack about naturalism.
We've got challenges to explore, implications to consider. It's going to be wild. Okay, so before we got lost in Darwin land, remember that environmentalist quiz?
Oh, right, the quiz. It's a really good example of how naturalism isn't just some old idea. It actually affects how we think about, well, the planet.
Yeah, like one of the quiz statements is about how reducing plastic is super important for saving marine life. That's not just like a nice thought. It's based on science. We see how plastic is hurting those ecosystems.
We see it, we study it, it's real. No need to rely on, like, magical thinking.
Right. Exactly. And that evidence-based way of thinking, it's not just for the environment, you know?
No.
Naturalism, it's like a lens. You can use it for everything. Health, money, even relationships. Always asking, what's the evidence? What's going to happen because of what I do?
It's like, be informed, think it through, and own your choices.
Exactly. And honestly, that's kind of empowering. The more we understand how the natural world works, the better we can, like, work with it. Find solutions, make good choices, you know?
It's that old saying, knowledge is power,
Yeah.
but with a little extra responsibility mixed in.
For sure. Okay, now zoom out with me for a sec. We talked about how naturalism kind of challenges traditional religion, but it also makes us rethink who PE are in the universe.
Yeah, that's a big one. If we weren't, like, created by some higher power, then what does being human even mean?
All right. Where's the meaning? Where's the
Mm.
purpose? Big questions. Naturalism says, well, maybe meaning isn't given to us. Maybe we make it here in the natural world. Connections with others, what we contribute, learning and understanding, that kind of stuff.
I can see that.
Yeah.
It's like the meaning isn't out there somewhere. It's here in all the complexity and beauty of the universe, even without, a creator.
Exactly. Think about it. Space, the human body, all the life on Earth. It's pretty amazing, even without some divine plan.
And it really emphasizes how connected everything is, right? We're all made of the same stuff, shaped by the same forces. We're not separate from nature.
We are nature,
Oh.
which is a wild thought. But it can also make you feel, I don't know, humble, responsible for everything else that's alive, compassionate.
It's a lot to take in. But hey, if naturalism says no to the supernatural, does that mean there's no room for mystery anymore?
That's a good question. It's not like science has all the answers.
Right.
Naturalism is okay with not knowing everything. Actually, it embraces it. The universe is huge and complicated, and we're constantly learning new stuff.
So instead of being scared of the unknown, we just channel that feeling into being curious and using reason.
Right. It's like saying, I don't know, but do I want to find out using science, using critical thinking?
It's the journey, the exploring, knowing there's always more to discover, more layers to peel back. We might not have the whole puzzle figured out, but that doesn't mean we can't enjoy what we're seeing.
Yeah, it's about finding wonder and meaning even when things are uncertain.
We've gone through a lot, from old philosophers to, like, the problems we're facing today. Naturalism is not just an idea, it's like a whole way of being in the world.
A way of being that's based on what we see, what we can prove, and respecting nature. It's about finding your place in the universe without needing something supernatural.
And using what we know to make things better for ourselves and every other living thing. So, as you go about your day, pay attention. Where do you see people questioning things? Where are they using evidence to back up what they're saying? Where's naturalism popping up in your life?
Because this is really just the start. Keep asking questions, keep learning, keep exploring the natural world.
All right, welcome back. We've been on quite the naturalism journey.
From ancient Greece to modern-day puzzles, it's been a wild ride.
But before we wrap up, I'm still thinking about how this all fits into, like, regular life. How do we actually live like a naturalist?
The big question, well, it's not like there's some rule book, It's more about a way of thinking, how we approach the world.
So a mental shift.
Yeah. Question everything, look for proof, be open to new info, that kind of thing.
Like being a scientist in everyday life.
Exactly. Observe, ask questions, look for natural explanations.
So instead of just accepting things, we dig deeper. Try to find the connections, why things happen the way they do.
Yep. And that goes for everything. The news, your health, relationships. Like, say you read an article about some miracle cure.
The miracle cure.
Right? A
Yeah.
naturalist would be like, hold on, what's the evidence? What kind of research is there? Are other people saying the same thing?
Like, be critical, but not like a total cynic.
Exactly. Think for yourself, especially with all the stuff flying around on social media these days.
So naturalism is like a tool for dealing with the world.
Yeah.
All the crazy info out there.
Totally. It helps you think clearly, make smart choices, and not get tricked by, emotional stuff or fake news.
Like a 21st century survival kit. But what about things we can't explain with science yet? The stuff we don't understand.
That's where the being okay with not knowing part comes in. Naturalism gets that.
It's not like shutting down mystery. It's more like focusing that energy in a way that makes sense.
Yes, it's saying, I don't know yet, but I'm open to figuring it out. New info comes along, we learn, we change our minds. That's the cool part.
Always learning, always exploring. We might not have all the answers, but that doesn't mean we can't appreciate what we're seeing, right?
Exactly. Finding wonder and meaning, even when things are uncertain.
We've covered a lot in this deep dive. Ancient philosophers, challenges we face today, all sides of naturalism.
There's a lot to think about.
And the main takeaway, I think, is this. Naturalism isn't just some philosophy in a book. It's how you live.
How you see the world, how you make choices, finding your place in the universe without needing something supernatural to explain it all.
Using what we know to make things better. For everyone. Everything. So, as you go about your day, pay attention. Where do you see people questioning assumptions, looking for evidence?
Where's naturalism showing up in your life?
And remember, this is just the beginning of the journey. Keep asking questions, keep learning, and keep exploring. That's what naturalism is all about.
Couldn't have said it better myself.